Okay, so here we are. It's Friday, and we're playing Homo Model Railroad Club again today. Um, Operational Railroad. Today we're attacking a known problem. People come over and operate, and really not knowing where to look and where things are. Got to identify them so they can see them easier. Well, we're making signs up for all the different places on the railroad. The original one right down here, Golden, was the predecessor. So now we're going to put up these things, and Z is putting borders and cutting them out. I'm printing them and so forth. So we're up here doing all this neat work here. Tim's over here trying to figure out why we're having issues with trains not moving certain cars. So there it is. Let's give you an example. We've come over here and done one sign already. What we had, this is Rockridge right here. And basically the sign on the front of the station was about all there was. It's not real visible anywhere else. Now, granted, the problem here is you have to look, and having the guys around here, and you ask them, they tell you they didn't know. Okay, there's a sign on the Coca-Cola thing that says Rockridge, but me, I'm blind because I did this. I know everything about this railroad. I know where all this is. So ask other people so that they know. Now we have a sign here with Rockridge. And because of the multi-level thing right up here above is Salamosa, which we're going to have a sign for Salamosa too. We had this sign, but that didn't really jump out at you. So we're going to have Rockridge, and then we're going to have a sign, and we'll put arrows with Salamosa going up. Those are the little arrows you get at Office Depot, and actually they say sign here right above the arrow. We just cut the sign here off. Okay, so now we have the name visible. So we're going around, and we're going to do a whole bunch of that, and we'll show you some more here when we get along the way. Okay, signs were made up in Word. This is Microsoft Word. It's 72 print, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Now, this is matte paper. I can't really show you, but this is heavy paper. It's not your typical piece of white flimsy paper. It's thick paper. Now, if I go here, this is on my layout, a lot of different signs and stuff that have been made. Like if I open this up, it's Glaser Wholesale, which you just saw in that last build. Well, if you watched that last video, it was there. So that was a sign for Glaser Wholesale. That was another one we just did. This was one I put in one of the billboards. I think it came from Walters, and then that was a sign that we put on the end of a model builder's building that we made for the cars. No clearance. So you can make your own signs, print them out, weather them, do whatever you want to, and as No Name City again, and you come up with neat things. Also, there's something else you can do here. Is you go on the internet and you steal your signs on the off the internet. And a little personal attachment to this sign. I was the Marlboro Man for 21 years, so I worked for that company. So yeah, we have a few Marlboro ad signs on the railroad. Okay. Now here's another one. This is a good one. I ended up having to create my own, but I went and got pictures of Sea Rock City signs. See Rock City in the way that it's done is all copyrighted, and the letters and stuff are not any standard print. So to do it on your model railroad, make your own sign. Eventually, I just went ahead and printed it out in standard print and made my own sign. I don't. Let's see. Well, that's Rocky Mountain printing and a couple other signs. So I'll go take you out and show you those. Okay, here's your Rocky Mountain printing sign. Now that's a model builder's building. That's foam core. It's like it was, the idea is the same as you get from the Walters thing. It's 1.5 2 inches thick. Actually, the part over there on the side is just paper on the back wall, but you get some depth perspective. But again, you have to have a name, signs, and stuff on the buildings. I'll go find you another one. Here's Glaser Wholesale Liquor. I kind of call this an employment row over here. See, we were talking about the Marlboro people. There's the employer there. Of course, I have the classic Philip Morris sign with Marlboro, and that's the original. Okay? Now, that's actually a Walters backdrop that had that on it. Long story about call for Philip Morris, but I'm not going to get into that one right now. And you notice the Jack Daniels sign on the Glaser Wholesale. That was another one we stole off the internet. And there, so forth. The Sunset Diner was a billboard that came off somebody else's layout. Here's Rockridge Coca-Cola Bottling Company. The Coca-Cola signs. This is a model builder's building. The light, the electrical panels and stuff comes in model builders. The door came in model builders. The sign did not come in model builders on the door. That came off another sign thing off the internet. Same thing with those signs. You can import the signs into model builders just like those tanks were imported, and then put them onto the project and print it out, and you have signs. That's another one of my signs where I went and stole the stuff off the internet. Borrowed it off the internet to make up my Tabasco plant. Along the wall here, there's your Marlboro sign, Jack Daniels sign, so forth. Again, printed out the no trespassing, private property sign. Sorry about all the silverfish things showing up, but it doesn't have it. Now, this was done by someone else. I still think he's selling this stuff on eBay. We kind of developed this with him. Gentleman started making the building black round flats, and he got the core stuff off the internet. Conco Food Service, that's a food distributor. Damn silverfish again. And he put all those signs on. Hard Rocker Furniture Company, that was a sign that I made. Okay, so you got to have signs. All City Storage comes into Walters. That's a Walters kit, and that came in the thing advance. Those are all Walters kits and the Walters signs. Now, it doesn't hurt at all to take a Walters kit and kit bash it and change the name on it. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Believe me, I got a few of them around here. So it makes you a little bit different than the other guy. Oh, here's one other one down here. One of my, of course you have the license to make up all your own signs. Yeah, here's the Acme Latex Company. Okay, gotta tell people where things are, okay? Okay, well, back to my Sea Rock City. And you see the space available. And I don't know what the hell, Marlboro Country sign, okay. Those billboards are Walter's billboards, and that's those, that picture of the daylight is Walter's. Now I can tell you one thing that's happened here. We changed the light bulbs from CFIs. They were incandescent CFIs. Now they're a LED light bulb. Those signs have been, believe me, that fuel oil, that truck was yellow. The UV light has gotten to it. So, sometimes you have to go in and refresh. But there's the Sea Rock City on top of the chip unloading building. That was self-created. We unload chips for the paper mill here. And they're pumped out there in the back to a big stack of chips behind the building. If you go through that wall, you're out in the driveway. Okay, well, that works. And of course, we'll be complete without a cement company with a haul for cement. We keep your feet in concrete. That's the one sign I need to make right there. New River Mine Company, now that's Walter's signs. So we're getting down to the end of our little project here. These are a little bit smaller signs that we got to go around, so slowly but surely. And the Rockridge Turn is making a stop at West Summit to drop a car off. And yeah, a couple of Dash 9s. Don't think you find any of these out on the street anywhere. Undecorated Katos. These are, believe they were phase 2. They have the speaker positions in them. These have the Soundtrex decoders in them. Both these units have sound in them. My earlier unit there, where we had to there was no speakers holes put in for the Katos. Where we had to go in and cut the frames and stuff back many moons ago. We just would put a speaker in one and run the other one with the motor decoder. But these both have speakers. These have been running for a very long time. Great units. So, as I said earlier in a long time ago video, everybody's got to have their fantasy units, because believe me, the Denver Rio Grande never had any of these. Little follow-up here, since everybody's talking about AC-44 9s, Dash 9s. This was the fleet as it grew over the years. The original set was right there. Those are phase 1s, Katos. And those are phase 1 Katos. We had to cut the frames. They didn't have a place for the speakers when we added the sound. Same thing on this unit. Just the 8100 has sound. And then this, they have a Soundtrex sound decoder. And then it has a motor decoder in the other units so they match up and run perfectly. This is a phase 2 unit. They have sound in both, and they have the holes for the speakers. Put a little tape on the edge because they drag up over the grade crossings, but it had the speaker holes. In them. So, great running units. That set there goes all the way, I'm almost sure, right at the turn of the century. These GP35s are Kato's. 6531's got a new motor in it. And should have bought 2 new motors. These had a lot of laps on them on the module layout. But the 31 unit really got to the point where it hardly run the brushes on a motor and so forth. So just got a new motor. Kato, I just ordered new motors for the Rio Grande units. Sheer sake that Kato had some motors, and one of the units is not kind of keeping in step, and they've got a lot of miles on them too. So I said, well, Kato still has the motors for them, so I ordered a set of motors. This time I ordered motors for both units, so they'll last another 20 years. Okay, so great fleet of engines here, and then you get into friends who show up. And they bring their stuff over. I don't know where they are right now. Yeah, here's another set of them. These are mine. One of my friends. Those are Kato's. Those are Dash 9s. And there's another set of the Santa Fe over on the other side that belonged to another friend. That neither one of them have layouts, and they got this great inventory of trains and engines, so they bring them over here and park them. Like we need more engines. Okay, all right, people. Everybody understands that statement. Okay. But anyway, just an update on the Grande Pacific Dash 9 fleet. Okay, as a follow-up to the end of the story here on the signs, we have gone and put our signs in place. I'm sure we can come up with some more, and we will, so that we can further identify as we go along, trying to make this so we have operators, which new people are always showing up. They have a better chance of getting and finding locations. New River Mine, so forth. I'm going to stop here and go back here and talk about something. I saw a post on H.O. Gage Bottle Railroads, I think it was, that's which one, on Facebook, that talked about the Walter double track bridge on the end right up here. And I got a point right here. This piece, you got to check and make sure real close that all your container car is clear. I know a lot of people who have removed that bottom piece or shortened that whole thing up so that they get clearance. Got to watch that when you install that bridge. Bridge was made, done a long time ago, and some of the newer stack trains and so forth that came out after it, not quite making the clearance. So be careful. Then we got over here and we put the Rocky Loop sign up, Eagle Pass, all these neat places on the railroad. Tolan, Apex, So just make it a lot more visible. Cargo grain elevator. So the famous No Name City and Apex Industrial. Now, Apex Industrial is this whole area here, all of this. And it is actually on a branch line, the Apex Silverville branch, the ANS. So, has talked about this one on several occasions. And this is Fuelless Refinery. And of course, this gets everybody talking. And we have the Colorado River here. And of course, it goes right across the aisle, going south, right over there. So I'm standing in the middle of the Colorado River right now. Okay. And my feet aren't even wet. Must not be winter season. No runoff. Okay, enough of that. We're going to need a sign there once we finish this and come up with a final decision on what we're going to call it. And of course, there's the No Name City warehouse. It's just an example here of the main line comes down here. We've talked about this on several videos. This up here is a different world than this down here. That little separation right there in elevation is hundreds of miles. But you're always looking for people to give people something to do. And we have trains that run out of both staging yards, and you have to make them up, and it's the No Name City turn. Even with basically three places, the warehouse, the depot over here, she's only been sitting there now 10 years. Okay, train will get here one day. All right, and the team track, three places. You can make up, a 10-car, 9-car train, send it up here on a turn out of the staging yard down there and back. They get to work it and fight through all the traffic and then fight their way back to the yard. And it works from either end. I can run it from that yard or I can run it from this yard. It's got each to get numbers from both ends of the railroad. So it's a job on a railroad. It's like all railroads. They had jobs. So anyway, this is kind of where we are on improving the signage, on the railroad. And as we were doing before, and I'm gonna have a little quickie update on the Facebook. These are all since Dash 9s are in the news, the fleet here. These are all Kato Dash 9s, and I'm going to say that set right there goes back to the turn of the century. Those are that one and that one are phase 1s. They had no place for the speakers. We had to cut the frame. Cut the frame and put the box speaker in. And I should have a screen over that. Gotta tell you, periodically I gotta go get a nice little brush and get it'll find metal flakes and pick them up. And when it does, it starts making all kind of funny noises and it vibrates. So anyway, that was a phase 1. I think I'm gonna say long about phase 2. No, not sure which one it is. Kato put a place for the speaker. Okay? So they will have places for their speakers. Now, these all have soundtrack decoders in them. As opposed to the behemoth here, believe me, there's a lot of difference. This thing is several pounds more heavy than those Katos. This is Broadway Limited, and it has a place for 2 speakers. You can literally blow your eardrums out with this thing. This is, Broadway Limited has the feature of being able to lower the sound down by pressing 8 twice quickly. You have to teach everybody how to do it because these things are loud. That's Broadway Limited classifies this as AC 6000. I don't know if they ever got all the engines in the units or not. The original order that SP got was 4,400 horsepower. They never got around, as far as I know, to upgrading the engines in the original order when they were hauling the Tagonite trains. Some people have told me that in later engines they did get them up to higher horsepower. But anyway, that's the fleet on the Dash 9s that belong to me. Now, they got a couple more sets around here, as I've said before. I have several people who come by and they don't have a layout, so they bring the trains over here and park them here. And we have this large number of engines, which we try to rotate around and get them to operate, because believe me, got to keep the little engines running. All right, so that puts a wrap on it here, and we're into October 2000. It's October the 1st, 2019. Oh. And we started on this railroad in October 2008, right after Gustav. She took all the tiles off the roof in this building. The lead that started the railroad for about 30 days while we fixed the roof in the house and, put all the little pieces back together again. But we were fortunate, no water damage. The tar paper up on the roof stayed, just the shingles came off. So on we go to the next project.